We will go ahead and call the order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
With the flag of the United States of America.
Director Womack. Here. Director Drew.
Here.
Director Sommer.
Here.
Director Dietrich.
Here.
Who is here virtually. Okay, thank you. 3.0 approval or changes to the consent agenda. We do have a couple changes. Sure, 9.1, we're not gonna go over the district calendar draft tonight. We're gonna have students required instructional hours. Student required instructional hours updates. 10.5 to discuss the mandatory reporting training that we just had. That looks good. I'll take a motion to approve consent agenda. With those changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with those changes.
Second? Womack.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carries. Public comment. We do have somebody signed up for public comment. Martha, would you like to come up and state your name and what you'd like to talk about?
Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
Much of that
I
mic's
feel
on.
like I should go after Judith, but I know there's a way you guys do this. Okay, so. Can you hear me?
Is that you might have to put the green button, people will, there you
First time. Ooh, you're kidding. Ooh, yeah, thanks. Okay. I have a list. How much time do I have? 2 minutes? Is that right?
go. Sure.
Okay, I just need to come in and let you guys know what the Assistance League has done for the last 3 years while I have been at Jewel and while I have had the opportunity to work with them. So I went through everything because I kept a whole bunch of lists. So they've gotten 23 pairs of athletic shoes for our students. They have funded 3rd and 4th grade going to the Immersive Experience Monet exhibit, all of the 19 students. They got the garden, all of their implements like gloves, shovels, rakes, hose, 5 rain jackets, 5 pair of rain boots, and wheelbarrows. They sponsored the 7 master gardeners in their current course load for getting certificates at the end of this year for the Intro to Ag class, which was $75 each. They paid for 19 students, food handlers cards, middle school and high school last term, and then they're doing it again for 11 8th graders this term. All right, this is a lot. They have taken 38 students shopping over the last 3 years, and they give them $165 to $225 each kid, which allows them to buy clothes and shoes. And they do that twice a year, but total it's been 38 kids, tons. They have brought in clothes bags. They've done 42 clothes bags for elementary students, K through 6th, with sizes for coats, shoes, bottoms, tops, socks, and underoos, usually above 2. They have 51 students borrow formal wear for Cinderella's Closet for dances. And this year, they sponsored us with a Bright gift, which allowed us to buy $1,600 worth of bulk new clothing for our clothes closet. And they've gotten a ton of band equipment. So in my 3 years, that's what they've done for coordinating with us. And I just I'm so grateful Judith is here because it's it's a thing that they don't get thanked for because these kids never see it, but I see it and a whole bunch of other people in the school see it. because these kids are walking around feeling good about themselves. And as they talk about on their website, when you take care of these little things, then they can focus on studying and not focusing on not having a pair of shoes that aren't falling apart. So that's my way over 2 minutes. So great for you guys. Thank you. And I brought a community program survey for FFA interest. And I was hoping that maybe you guys could fill these out and get these back to me at some time. And I'm trying to get these collected by next Thursday. So I don't know where you want me to put these, but these are just, if you guys think it's an interesting thing to have more farm stuff out here, we kind of want to know where you're at. If you don't, that's okay too. Good?
Yeah, give them to me.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. 5.0 Assistant League presentation. That was a pretty good introductory. I think,
No, didn't think she was gonna do that.
I think she's in support.
Ryan, can you see this presentation okay?
I can, thank you.
Perfect. Presentation mode and go for it. Okay, how do I do that? Like a slideshow? Yeah. Just picture like that. There you go. Okay.
Danny? Yeah. Well, good evening, everybody. I feel like I don't even need to say anything now. No, it was a great one. So good evening, Chair Cox, board members, and all the lovely people that are here tonight. Thanks, Abby, for setting up the presentation for me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to share the work of the Assistance League of the Columbia Pacific. I'm Judith Huck. I'm the Public Relations Chair for our chapter. And I'm here tonight to highlight how Assistance League partners with school districts, teachers, and counselors to support students. We're all about the students and the families. We believe in working alongside with you to enhance the critical work you're already doing. With me tonight is my amazing husband and supporter, Joe Huck, and driver, because he can see at night and I can't. Okay. So who is the Assistance League of Columbia Pacific? We're a chapter of the National Assistance League. It's a nonprofit organization with over 22,000 members across the United States and 120 chapters nationwide. For 18 years, our local chapter has served Clatsop and Pacific counties as a 501c3 nonprofit with about 100 dedicated volunteers. Our volunteers are required to complete a Social Security criminal background check prior to interacting with students, and we've recently instituted an ethics policy for clarity regarding standards of behavior. This is new for us. I just want to show you guys know about that. So what do we do? We focus on hands-on involvement to make a lasting difference for children. We collaborate with the public schools to run impactful programs. The school districts we work with are Jewel, Seaside, Warrenton, Astoria, Napa in Oregon, and in Washington, Nacelle, and we're just bringing on Ocean Beach in the peninsula. We're excited about that. So why does it matter? The need in our area is significant. 17% of children in Clatsop County live below the poverty line. 16% of families with children in Clatsop County receive food stamps. Warrenton has the highest number of homeless youth in rural Oregon. So these statistics highlight the challenges that many families face and the importance of our support. So is what we do effective? We surveyed teachers and counselors across the districts we serve and received 130 responses. And here's what they reported about the students that we work with. 60% noted improved attendance with those students. 64% saw significant academic improvement. 77% observed better classroom behavior. 95% saw increased student confidence. 79% reported higher student engagement. These outcomes reaffirm that the programs that we bring to your school make a real difference for the students. So what are these programs that we bring that bring about these changes? Operation School Bell is our signature program, and we're proud to support Jewel School District's students with new clothes through this program. Your amazing school counselor, Martha Stevens,
Not counselor.
what are you?
I'm the wellness coordinator.
Oh, sorry. Your amazing wellness coordinator, Martha, determines which students will be participating. And then your middle and high school students go up to at Warrenton, and our volunteers. Do our volunteers help with that too?
For going shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nancy Magathon.
Yeah.
How do you say her last name?
Magathon.
Yeah, she's, I mean, we contact each other sometimes, we just,
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you. And the new budget for each student is $250. And it's whatever they need for school. Shoes, coat, underwear, tops, jeans, whatever they need that they will wear to school is what we're after there. Our goal is for them to fit in, for them not to stand out because they're wearing the same thing every day, or it's not getting cleaned, or whatever it might be. The elementary schools students receive new clothes from our warehouse in Warrenton. We buy new clothes for school kids all year long, and we have a little warehouse in Warrenton packed full of clothes. And when Martha tells us what size those kids are, what they like, sort of things, we put together a little wardrobe of clothes, like I've got laid out over there, coats and pants and underwear, shoes. We throw in books and toothbrush, toothpaste, everything along that line. And then Martha's great husband, Nate, brings it from Astoria or Warrenton down to you here, and that's how it gets to you guys. So in the last school year, 23-24, my notes showed that we helped 5 high school students, 12 middle school students with their shopping, and then 24 elementary school students received a little wardrobe. And then the funding for the emergency clothing closet that Martha mentioned. We have a duffel bag program. We provide duffel bags to children that are going into foster care. When children are taken from homes, often they don't get to take anything with them. So we supply DHS and a couple other organizations with duffel bags full of clothes and blankets, comfort items, hygiene items. So they're right there for those kids. So they have something that is theirs. So that offers them some dignity and care during a difficult transition. Our school activity support program is where we help cover fees and supplies for sports, music, theater, and other school activities. So far this year, across all our schools, we've supported sports fees and gear, traveling team fees, a trip to the Cesar Chavez Leadership Conference, trip to the ONSI Science Fair, trip to the Monet exhibit, and musical instrument rentals, yearbooks. If the kids aren't able to pay for yearbooks, we can fund those and other items. So currently, according to our record, and Martha might correct me, you have used $500 of your $600 elementary budget, and we still have $1,800 available for middle and high school.
it's all used, I used it today.
Oh,
I just don't submit it till April, so it's
okay.
it's on Tammy's side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it warms my heart that you're using it. Some
Yeah.
school districts, nobody takes the time to ask for it, so they don't use it, and that's heartbreaking. So I'm really glad. Martha is on it. You have a jewel right here. She's amazing. She is just amazing. Everybody talks about her in our group. Okay, so Cinderella's Closet. Sorry. So this is where the young ladies and young men can borrow dresses or jackets and things from us. Just trying to save them a little money. This program is going to get put on hold for a little while. The church that was letting us use some space to store everything sold. They sold the building, and we've had to move it into a new location that's really tiny, and so we can't even get stuff out of there. So that's going to be on hold for a little while. Operation Scholarship. Each school district gets 2 scholarships a year. It's been $1,000 in the past. We upped it this year to $1,500. All the information about the scholarships have been sent out to the schools.
I don't know about this.
Okay, you get 2 $1,500 scholarships for trade school or community college for a high school student that is graduating.
That goes to Shelley, for secondary council.
Okay,
Okay, cool.
as far as I know, you're taking advantage of it, so, okay, good. And we're gonna work on upping that and offering more scholarships just to help kids get to that next level. Our community outreach program is just a general community program. We had, an example is we had a family living in their RV at Fort Stevens in Hammond, and they did not have enough money to pay for the site fee. They ran out of funds. So while their regular funds were coming into them, we were able to help them pay for that RV site fee so they could stay there. Really sad situation. So how do we pay for all this? Our annual budget's about $200,000. We raised that through our annual home and chef tour. Have you ever heard of our home and chef tour? This is, homeowners in the area will let us borrow their homes, usually 5 or 6 homes at a time, kind of in one area. And we charge people to go and look at these homes. And we have a chef, a local chef in each one of the homes that puts together little snacks for everybody. So, and then we charge 40, I think the tickets this year are $40. It's going to be April 12th. It's going to be in the Warrenton area in Surf Pines and from Surf Pines down to Polo Ridge. Yes. Right now we have 5 homes and 2 other businesses that people will be able to go in and check out. So that's how we raise a chunk of the money, is by doing that. And then we also get individual and corporate donations. We do an ask each year to a regular group of donors. We send out requests for money and people respond. It's wonderful. And grants, we have a grant writer we work with that we apply for grants. So that's how we do that. So how can you help? You can, if you know somebody with a business that would like to put an ad in our home and chef tour brochure, that is one way we raise funds. You can become a member or a volunteer with Assistance League. You can follow us on our Facebook page and Instagram. The more people that follow us, the more people will see what we're doing and see our requests for dresses for Cinderella's Closet, or hear about the home and chef tour and maybe go on it. And then just in general, spread the word that what we're doing and how we're doing it, just to get more people involved and more support out there. So thank you very much again for your time tonight. Truly appreciate the opportunity. Together we can ensure that every child in Jewel has the support they need to thrive. That's what we're all doing, right? You guys too. So I welcome any questions you might have.
Amazing.
This is the first time I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Thank you, Martha, too.
Yeah.
So everyone about it, it's been here for a while. But exactly what you just said, I mean, once you got involved, Martha, this thing has taken off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just flown.
I've heard of it, but I didn't know how it all came about.
Well, thank you for saying
Kids
that.
came home with clothes and this and that.
Yeah, that's good.
On your
Nice job.
scholarship, I'm sorry,
Oh, nice job with it.
Thank you.
on your scholarships, it says application process that the kids turn in.
Yeah,
And then you guys review them and then
Yeah.
work with, oh, that's good. Okay.
exactly. And that's what I'm here for today. I want you to know what we're doing, just to help make sure that everybody takes advantage of all the opportunities that we provide, and to be here. If your students or your school needs something else that we're not providing, let us know, and if we can work it in somehow, we will. And as an example, some of the schools need laundry service, so the families don't have money to go to the laundromat. It's expensive to go to the laundromat. It can be, one of the big machines in Astoria is $11. $11 to wash your clothes. And then it's like what is it, Joe? A few dollars to dry. Drying is cheap, but yeah. So we're working on a program right now. The laundromats have like little gift cards that we can buy, and you can just slide it through the washing machine thing, and it pays to do it. So we're just getting started, getting that rolling out. Because when I went to the Warrenton School Board, there was principals at the meeting, and that we were talking about it, and they said, yes, you're giving us clothes, but the families aren't able to wash them. Whoa, okay, good to know. So if something comes up, please let us know. Oh, I have the brochures for you. So you have my contact.
Well, it's paid. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And when you show up at, I'm sorry, I'm talking out of this, when you show up at an event, and there's 10 volunteers there to help these kids, every time they're just stoked and happy, and I don't know, it's lovely.
Thank you. This just tells a little bit about us and has my card on it. So if you have something comes up and you want to talk to me about it, or Martha, whatever you want to do. This is our brochure from our home and chef tour last year. It's a lot of fun. We get about 450 people buy tickets and come through the houses, and it's a great fundraiser for us. So if you feel like a drive up to Warrenton area on Saturday, April 12th, it's from 11 to 3, and tickets will be for sale on our website. Okay.
It's your house, Juan.
Well, it is no, I don't know.
Next year, next year.
Good idea.
Oh, you got it.
So thanks for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Too, you know, this is how it works, right? This is how you decide what to do at the different schools, and I applaud you for your time and effort here.
Thank you.
Man. 6.0 financial report. Question?
No
You know,
questions?
Tammy was working on the kindergarten, trying to get us a little low,
Just sure for the fifth of someone.
right?
Exactly. I,
Add a 0 on their check or something.
I mean, yeah, for that one, sure. I just thought maybe you guys might like to hear like a little bit of update of other things that the business office is working on. Because there's a lot more to it than just the financial report that you get. I do want to remind everybody that the SEI filing window is about ready to open. The statement of economic impact that you'll all have to complete. Everybody should be seated in that system. And so the window opens on March 15th and closes on April 15th. And so just be on the lookout for an email from the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
I think it's from, yeah. This was from Monday. I had the interim audit started today. It started Monday. So the interim audit is going strong every day, multiple times a day. I'm getting questions from the auditors. So that's fun. It's going well, though. It's going well. Budget season, it's almost budget season. And I just wanted to remind everybody that we need budget committee members. So time to look for some budget committee members. And our first public session will be April first with the superintendent's budget presentation. And then, as we mentioned, I think you all got my report on the timber revenue, our second quarter.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Our second quarter timber revenue. So we budgeted 4.5 million for our timber revenue, and we're about 36% of that right now with that second quarter timber revenue. I've talked about it in every business manager meeting I have. I went to a budget workshop last Friday, talked about it. Just no way to predict what we may get. And it's interesting because some of the schools in Washington County saw an increase to their timber revenue. So it's which, then they're half state school fund or their state school fund. So then that kind of throws them off and they have to contact ODE to open up the collection and to stop potential state school fund revenue. So, and then I just wanted to know if there were any clarifications that I might be able to make for the local service plan talk that we had last week. About the service credits and that names. And I did just send you all that, the reports on the OSP. And there is a number on there that they had allocated roughly $91,000 on there for business services, and that has decreased by $30,000 because we're taking on more of that here at the district.
For our filing with the state, is that gonna go to our new school emails? Like, go to whatever we registered as?
Whatever you registered as, I could shoot you an email if you'd like tomorrow to let you know. It's whatever it was last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Any questions on? expenditure report? We'll bring us to 7.0 principal report.
All right, so I've been working on our teacher evaluations, have several to do. I have 2 more to finish up and we'll be complete with the evaluations for the year. Feel kind of like in Doge where you have to tell the 5 things that you did last week. And so then we have also the Swiss data from December. We had for the daily average of 2.8 referrals per day. In January, it went down to 2.2. And now this month, and I even went into the system and took out the days because it has however many referrals you have compared to the days you are in session. I went in and adjusted it for the days that we are out. And at this point, we are at 1.42 per day. So they are coming down and we're really happy about that. And speaking of behavior, the other thing that we're working on are expectations for all of our kids. And so we had last Wednesday, we had what we call an expectations rotation. And it's where we take preschool, or I guess kindergarten through 12th grade, and go through all of the areas of the school. And then at each area, that would be cafeteria, playground, restroom, hallway, bus, library, assemblies, technology. But we go through the expectations for each place again. And so there's no question what the expectations are, what we want students to do. And then at the end, it was great because we celebrated with ice cream. We had everybody go down to the lunchroom. We had an ice cream social, which was really good.
Sounds like an incentive more than a.
Well, okay.
Anyway.
And speaking of bribes,
Yeah.
so then with our bus behavior, that was one of the things that seemed to be at the highest level. We have behaviors in the classroom, but bus seemed to be one of those areas where we had a lot of behavior going on. And so our MTSS group, led by Mr. Peterson, they put together a program where if buses, the four buses, this is from sort of for today, for example, for last night's run and this morning's run, if there are no referrals, no trackers, then the bus gets a point. And then we keep track. We have a place where in the on the trophy case that has a flip chart for each bus, and it says it has this is how many days you have with no trackers, no referrals, and then when they get up to 20 days, then they get a pizza party. So I think, and then the kids are so excited. In fact, I even had a junior, because I go out and check the bus. I asked the bus driver, "Is everything okay?" I had a junior in high school. I was in my office doing some emails. She said, "Mr. Scott, are you going to be going out to check the buses?" So they want to make sure that they get their point. Not that it wouldn't happen anyway, but I mean, she was concerned that I wasn't going to get out there and do that. But we really wanted to measure on some positive, because I know for me, I tend to look at, okay, what's going wrong? I'm going to try to fix it. But then we don't celebrate what's going well. And there are so many things going well here. And so far we've had 5 days of the program. Each bus that has 5 points. So we're looking for that. And then it's just, and that's the other thing. They don't lose points. If they don't make it one day, they just don't get the point. So it's just cumulative. They go through until they get 20. So one bus may get it one day, one bus may get it another. And then we also included all of the students. So if I don't ride the bus, I get assigned to a bus. And so I get to celebrate as well with the bus riders so we all get a chance to do it.
More peer pressure.
Exactly. So rivalry, peer pressure, yeah, that's it. That covers it.
And I like that, and the concept, that's appreciated. It's fun. I don't get out there all the time, but I was watching you running out there the other day, and I don't know what the kids' faces are like when you get on the bus, but the idea behind the scenes, the MTSS, I just want to express, we're looking at the Swiss data, and through the data, it's what we're trying to showcase, that we're trying to build these students in the district, being data informed. We saw that that's where there was an area of need out of everything and all the commonplace expectations. Mind you, I know you weren't here for the first round, but that's how we started the year also. We spent a good chunk of last year building that so we could have consistency. So we promised our own staff and our students in the community, we'd do it again, we did. And through the data, the buses, the area. And so now we have other things that the students may or may not be aware of that we've implemented, different practices to see if it does have an impact on behaviors. Yes, we've got this, pizza stuff going on, but there's other things behind the scenes that the students may not know. And then we're going to check again in about 3-4 weeks after this to see, is that having an impact financially? In my viewpoint, what we're doing is it worth continuing financially to do what we're doing in some areas? And then from a behavioral standpoint and staffing, that's going to be from the principal viewpoint. But these are what we're talking about. That's tier 2 for MTSS right now. That's tier 2. And if we have individual issues, that's tier 3. Then we start doing very specific interventions. But we're trying to be very intentional how we're building this, and it's a slow rollout, but this is part of the process. So thank you, by the way.
Yes, and that's my report.
I can imagine the bus drivers are happy about that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when I get the thumbs up, it's good. Yeah.
That's good.
I was debating riding the bus once in a while, but I really didn't want it. So I'm glad that I said. Unless the ice cream thing, let me know like 8:19 or something.
Okay, yeah, get on the bus.
8.0, old business. So our third-party investigator has wrapped up phase 1. I do have a statement for that. Do you have anything else to add on that? Essentially, our phase 1 of our investigation is completed. Wanted to provide the public with a update on the status of the district's investigation into past student disciplinary events and how the district responds to those events. As the first stage of the investigation with investigator Keith Ursley, that's his last name, Ursley, spent time in the district reviewing information going back to 21 and 22 school year. Mr. Ursley reported the district's staff was very cooperative and helpful to him during his review. There were some challenges in clearly tracking all the data because the district used different systems at different times. As we all know, there was lots of turnover the last few years. I want to remind everyone that the students' discipline records are private. We will not be able to discuss any of those details in public sessions. The next step of the investigation is for the investigator to start talking to some of the parents. And after we'll check again, and we'll get an update and help us determine what we can do to improve things going forward. So I think that'll start happening here shortly in the next couple of weeks, probably, or maybe sooner. So that's all we have on that current. 8.2. And everybody should have seen the NWRESD service plan. Everybody read through that. And we have some on the, we had some conversation and on.
But I know, I mean, Tammy, I mean, also got something. I know it's confusing at times, and it is. And so I don't know if I outlined, but on the far right-hand side, you see the paragraph on the far right of the column, the two columns. And this is of the state school fund money. So out of the state school fund, 90% is allocated to the districts that are included underneath the schools that they serve. And then 10% is reserved for themselves for those reasons. And out of the 90%, this is where I think it was a little confusing last week, 25% of that 90% is reserved for the core, which is, again, everybody uses it. We're not putting that money in. That's just the money that ESD is already allotted out there to all the districts that covers all the different things. And we do utilize, and maybe I gave the wrong impression last month, but we do utilize quite a few of those other services. It's just we don't utilize all of them because it depends sometimes on the side of the districts and what's best for our local area. Then the remaining 75%, those are called your service credits. And that is the funds that we can use for the menu items that we had prior. And we also use them for other things such as I brought in here, our occupational therapists, our physical therapists, school psych, speech language pathologists, those kind of services as well. And Tammy and I were talking about that, where if you were to bring one of those individuals in on their own and bring them into the district outside of the services here, you will be paying quite a bit more, especially if it turns into benefits and all those kind of things. So it really is it's a package deal to come in with these components. It's when you're done with that 75% of what was left over with service credits, and you've utilized all those funds, then that's when the district will put out. So there is no set amount until you reach zero, basically, service credits. And then that's the discussion of the district and the leadership and business, man, we just see what we have allocated for funds, and it starts coming out of the general fund at that point. And so it was a little confusing because there was really no set point. It's a basic usage throughout year to year, what you might use. It's not always a set amount all the time. And it is an action item. So, if the board chooses to do so.
I'll make a motion, be it resolved, the board of directors adopts 25-26 local service plan as presented. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Thanks. Board policy update. We're going to discuss a little bit before the meeting. There's quite a few of them that are no longer there.
So I'm going to do some reading here. I do need you to get your pencils out because we're going to do some drawing on the policies. So the week of January 13th, 2025, Oregon School Board Association notified its members about a court decision on January 9th in which a federal district court judge in Kentucky issued a decision vacating the 2024 updates to the Title IX regulations. The ruling vacated the rules that went into effect on August 1st of 2024. And it has since been stated in a communication from the U.S. Department of Education that this means the previous Title IX rules that were effective in 2020 now remain in effect. And also in light of the recent federal court decision, so this is going to be ongoing for a while. I know there's going to be changes, and we don't know where this is going yet. Lots of discussions behind the scenes. But in light of the recent federal court decision vacating the 2024 Title IX rule and consistent with President Trump's Defending Women executive order, the binding regulatory framework for the Title IX enforcement includes the principles and provisions of the 2020 Title IX rules I just mentioned and the long-standing Title IX regulations, but it excludes the vacated 2024 Title IX rules. And accordingly, open Title IX investigations initiated under the 2024 Title IX rules should be immediately reevaluated to ensure consistency with the requirements of the 2020 Title IX rules. So at the last board meeting, I gave you some items to delete and then also change in some Title IX coordinator rules here. So I'm going to go through the board policies, which I'm going to ask you to put on pause while I go back and take a look at all the different dates that go from 2024 to 2023 to 2020 and 2021 and try to get this all sorted out. Thankfully, we have Oregon School Board Association helping us out. So the ones I need you to kind of X off for the moment are going to be AC, non-discrimination and civil rights. And the one right after that, ACAR1, discrimination or civil rights complaint procedure. ACAR2, sex-based discrimination under Title IX is also going to be rolled back. And our current policies we have in place right now is what I would be utilizing for the moment. Obviously, if we come into a situation, I'll have to go back into the current ones. But if someone's going to reference something right now, that's where I'm going to go and then see if it pertains to the changes I need to make. Leave there, leave alone CB, superintendent, leave alone CBC, superintendent's contract. And same thing, don't touch ECD, traffic and parking controls, and again, don't touch EEBB, use of private vehicles for district businesses. Then the next one, GBN, JBA, and JBA, GBN sexual harassment. Check that one off for the time being. Also check off delete, GBN, JBA, AR1, and JBA, GBN, AR1 sexual harassment complaint procedure. Those are being replaced, but we have to take those off. Also scratch out, delete GBN, JBA, AR2, and JBA, GBN, AR2 federal law, Title IX sexual harassment complaint procedure. Leave on their GBNAA-JHFF and JHFF/GBNAA suspected sexual conduct and students and reporting requirements. Leave on their IKF graduation requirements. Scratch off JFE, pregnant and parenting students. And then the rest of them you can leave on there. So the rest of them are up for discussion and questions, or ask them how you guys would like to go forward with that. That was a fun meeting. And if you, I'm going to go through, is that okay if I go through just a couple of them? Sure. Yeah, and so I may just say if you have questions, but if not, should I miss some here? So the first one here would be, back up one, CB, superintendent. And I think in light of situations in previous districts that I've read about in the last few years, but also where things are going currently in the world, this is language that OSBA is putting out there. The addition of this one for policy is the board may not direct the superintendent to take any action that conflicts with local, state, or federal law that applies to school districts. So it's not happened in past school districts where boards are asking the superintendent to break the law.
Okay, so if we have conflicting laws between federal and state, who do we go with?
And that's the debate right now. You see it all over.
But federal supersedes.
If federal does supersede the state.
So it should still be clear.
And so,
Supposed to.
so if you're going to ask me to, if somebody on the board asks me to follow the state over the federal, I won't.
Yeah.
I will literally not. I will. You'll see me leave the district. Before that happens, I will not do that. Whether I agree or disagree. So there's that one, unless there's any other questions. That's the only reason I put that in there. And then CBC superintendent's contract. basically the same thing. The board may not issue a contract that includes terms with which direct the superintendent to take any action that conflicts. It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same concept. The employment contract, if it includes a mutually agreed determination without cause provision by the board, will include a 12-month notice of termination for such provision. And that's been included in almost every superintendent contract for the last couple of years at this point because of the previous one, the statement. What I did take out of here from OSBA was the district may provide health benefits for superintendents that are no longer employed by the district until the superintendent reaches the age of 65, finds new employment that provides health benefits. And I'm thinking for myself, if I were to be here for the duration of my time, how old am I, 45? I'd be done by about 57 or so. That's my 30 years of education. I find it odd that I would expect the school district to be paying all my health benefits for the next 7, 8 years. I don't know. It just doesn't seem for me, especially when we're looking at money for the district, for the kids. I don't feel like that's appropriate for maybe having a superintendent have that aspect of it.
Corey? It says may instead of shall.
We wouldn't give it to you anyway.
So, like, had that remained, it could have still been up for debate possibly, or inconsistencies in application.
I'm going to leave it, but if the board wants me to keep it there, I can. Put it
No, what I mean is, had you not removed it,
It would have been a point of discussion.
then we could have been inconsistent in applying it because it says may and not shall. So, which shall is better do it.
We'll do it, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's just my,
Has that ever been practiced?
I don't think for this district, but I've been the chair long enough to know if it has, but I don't recall. I don't think we've had anybody retire from this chair. Just, you know.
Mr. Adams.
It's been a while, yeah. Mr. Adamson, yeah. He ain't gone, but I think he was over 65.
In my 18 years, I don't work with anybody that's retired in this chair. So that's that one.
I was in grade school.
ECD, it does say NAP, obviously. Yeah, we changed the Jewel School District on there. I'm trying to find some language. Want to change some language here. And this one, I do not believe we have this policy at all. So just kind of leave it there. I mean, I think it's fairly self-explanatory, but if there's any questions, let me know. Then EEBP, these are private vehicles for district business. The only thing that I crossed off was the very last 2 sentences. A student will be allowed to perform district business with his or her own vehicle, and I crossed off or a staff member's vehicle. That doesn't seem appropriate. Liability wise, there's a lot of things that aren't okay with that. So, and beyond that, I'm going to leave everything else alone. I believe the GBNAA, suspected sexual conduct with students and reporting requirements. There may have been a few changes in there, but that was just standard boilerplate with OSBA. Nothing that I added in that one. Graduation requirements, the same thing, IKF. That's just showcases the changes that are taking place with our graduation requirements for Oregon. So I didn't change any other than what was provided for OSBA. Headlights, I'm going to ask you to hold off on JHCCF and the AR. I currently am working with ODE on a policy for extreme situations. I'm waiting to hear back from our old board policy, but also how does that look in terms of, as I told you before, the exclusionary practice. I'm not into that. I'm not into that, and this is a fine line to walk, a very fine line to walk. So I don't know what this is going to look like, but I will present something to you in the next board meeting and have a discussion whether we pass it or not. You want to throw it in there. And then the last one's medications. Both the JHCD and the AR are updates from OSBA to follow current practices.
Thank you. Very helpful to run through them. Thank you.
That's why if you guys are going through this, it can just be quiet. And but maybe they might like to hear just a little bit about some of them.
I find it particularly helpful to know which ones have originated from you versus just coming down from the state.
No, if it's a change that I personally feel I would definitely, and 99% of the time it'll be this state and whatnot pushing, but if there are,
This ECD policy we do not have, but they don't have it. So it's supposed to be a new
It'd be a new policy, yeah, that would be a brand new policy that we don't have.
Well, I felt pretty good, so I don't know if you guys. Do you feel if you want to review these further or?
I'm prepared to vote on it tonight.
Okay. So you want to make a motion to move forward? The only thing we'll have to correct would be the jewel, now for the jewel
Yeah.
correction. Okay.
No. Somebody else can.
So, I will make a motion to approve the CBC superintendent contract, the ECD traffic and parking controls, with the exception of Jewel, so Napa. The use of private vehicles for district business. GVNA/JHFF and JHFF/GVNA. Suspected sexual conduct with students and reporting requirements. The IKF graduation requirements. JHCCF.
Or pull off on those two.
Oh, sorry, and hold on. Keep them.
JHCD.
JHCD, the medications.
And JHCD medications, version 2, JHCD-AR. Do we have a second?
And the JHFD
Yeah, the
student
page.
vehicle.
Other page.
Please, where are we done? Sorry. JHCD-JHCDA.
We're deleting that.
With deletion of that. Correct.
And JHF. Student vehicle.
We're at, oh, and adding JHFD, student vehicle use.
I second it. Thank you, TJ.
All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Carried.
If we stay on policies, I do want to bring this one up also. So this is, and I talked with our business manager about this one, as we're going through WASBO and winter conference and prepping for budget and doing more research, came across some school districts have a fund balance policy. So that led me down a rabbit hole. For some reason, Tammy's office asking about, we don't have a fund balance policy for the district. And she was adamant, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I said, no, you don't. It's not for policies. So thank you, Tammy, going back in, and the record is from the GASB 54 fund balance. So back on the board meeting in June 24, 2019, it was passed, it was approved. And so I have that in front of you, and I don't know, this is new for me. I don't know how that works when it's been approved, but it's been 5 years. And I'm assuming it's been obviously in the files, but per the district, it's not in the policy at all. So I don't feel like this would need to be approved because we have word minutes and things that showcase it was, but I just wanted to bring it in front of you. So it's not a surprise. It does not have any of the legal RSs and all that stuff attached to it. So I had to attach to that component of it. And she's going to be working with OSBA if it's okay with the board. I don't know if it needs approval or not on this one. Just I think we're in consensus that she's going to go ahead and go in there and verify that those are all okay. But it might need a board approval with the RS or something. That's kind of why I'm hesitating.
I was just going to ask, is there anything that's going to change? I mean, since 2019, nothing has changed.
And that I don't know. And that's what she's going to find out. So I want to throw it in front of you. If you'd like to see this, which I'm assuming as I'm kind of filling the room here, we'll probably bring this back in front of you for the next board meeting.
Okay.
I just want you to know this is, are there others out there? I don't know.
Well, this one says Vernonia on it.
Yeah,
Second page.
that was just an example. So we'll see the ORS is attached to it.
See, if we don't have so OSBA has a whole bunch of policies, and if we don't have the policy here, but we know that it exists, we go to other schools. That's why you saw like the Napa or the Vernonia or sometimes Gaston. We pull from those and go, okay, they have it. And so then we use that to be like, this is what we want for Jewel. So that's kind of where that comes from. But every year I have to, it's in the interim audit. That's why I was like, yes, we do. I just pulled it from the interim audit. So,
I was surprised as soon as I said it, how quickly you reacted.
Should have waited to tell you.
doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
But doesn't that fall back almost like the senior trip thing? But there's no real numbers on it.
Well,
Because like the senior trip, we would have the DBB, and this doesn't show that.
See, and that's what we're talking
That
about,
makes me
like,
tell, is it really a policy? It may have went through the board, I'm not saying it did.
Well, I think what I end up doing is bring it back into this format, so you will take a look at it. And I think my process is giving it to you ahead of time, whether you can approve it the first round or not. There's no surprises with it, but therefore you're correct to have all the extra stuff on it. Yep. Okay. I already lost my second page. Still through here.
Okay, that'll bring us to new business. We have 9.1 that was changed to student required hours.
So what we removed was the district calendar, and that will be in front of you guys for the next board meeting. So I just need more time with the associations to go through that, so they can see it. So we have missed 11 school days this year. So I want to bring that to your attention also. And we've always had a good cushion for the district. And I've made all sorts of scribbles. I've been working on this for a little while, and I've connected both associations, other superintendents as well, to make sure that, with this amount of missed days, that we're going to be okay on this one. So out of all those days, taking into account 6.5 hours student. So let me rephrase this. We have 171 instructional days with students, and they need. Let me rephrase this. At the kindergarten through 8th grade, they need 900 instructional hours of time in front of staff, and 9th through 11th, they need 990 hours a year, and 12th graders need 966. So I took the 171 days that we have 6.5 hours of what I thought was instructional time, but then going through OD even more, taking away the passing time, which is a half an hour, 5 minutes between classes. So we really have 6 hours of instructional time, brings us to 1,026 hours for this school year. We missed 10 regular days and then 1 Wednesday, which does change a little bit because of the shortened schedule. So that puts us at 64.5 instructional hours. And what I'm coming to the board with is through ODE, it is a local level decision for the board if they like to do this. Because right now we're at 961.5 hours. But it's a local decision by a board for the school districts that if they would like to approve, and that's what I'm asking you, if you'd like to approve 30 instructional hours through our PD time. So those are our Wednesdays time, and we have a lot of PD time and also parent teacher conferences. So the ODE will allow a board to approve 30 hours of those to be included, which would bring us up to 991.5, which brings us an hour and 30 minutes above what we need to have for our students.
so we better hope there's no.
So meaning you would not have to make anything up at this point. We do have a cushion in general because of, I'm assuming, the historical aspects of the weather out here in the district. But if the board approved that, then we are, like I said, an hour and 30 minutes above. If the board doesn't approve, which is your decision, because it is based off the calendar, then I will need to go back and start figuring out what I was doing earlier, which I had conversations with a number of people, which is making days up and taking probably, I think, 8 PD days away out of our 12 or 13 left, having students go the full day on June 5th, coming in on the 6th, and also the 9th and the 10th the following week, and then staff the 11th, 12th, and 13th. So students would be making up about almost 4 days, and staff are making up 3, almost 4 if you count their PD time at the end here. So that's,
Does it cost more to add those days?
my assumption it will probably cost more because it'll be,
Yeah.
I mean, the summer food program, I know there's going to be a gap for a couple of weeks versus where we're really planning on moving forward. Yeah. Now I will say and correct me if I'm wrong, Tammy, on this one, but for classified, they're already paid for the emergency closure days. So those days is superintendent's prerogatives through the contract that they have that we can make those up as they see fit. For certified, that's where I get a little lost. They're already, I mean, I assume they get paid for those extra days on top, if I'm correct.
further contact, I don't believe so. I don't believe so, because
I've been
I could go look at that. I don't,
focused on the classified stuff, but in terms of coverage of dates here. But I'm also thinking food and whatnot, and energy. I mean, it's gonna cost,
Right.
it'll cost more like that.
And
I
then
just can't give you the full amount.
what are we losing in professional development by giving up those hours?
Well, I was mentioning this to the staff yesterday in our staff meeting. I think it's quite a bit because I feel like, as I expressed with the MTSS stuff and student support teams and other components, and I know Mike's working on adoption processes with elementary, it will be quite a bit because of the momentum that we're trying to build.
Right.
As I said to the staff, some of it's working, some of it's not, and it's okay if it's not because we're literally trying to figure things out. Oh, that's not working, we're gonna throw that aside, let's keep going. Versus my years in the district where it's not always been the most authentic PD. It's just to get through the time. And I think you have a team that really is really trying to build something here. That will be a problem because it will throw a big kink into that. And so I know there'll be some naysayers out there, even within our own bodies, sometimes that go, no, it's not really working. But I'd be the first to jump up and say, oh, hold on, I will argue that. So it would be an impact that I expressed to the staff. I don't want to do it. I really don't want to take PD time away. But then you look at our senior class, and at that point, we would have to build, I believe, 18 hours, I think I told you before. And to get that done before they're done by the May 31st graduation, I have no choice but to get, literally, and I do mean get the PD time. I would have no choice. So, I've actually lost sleep over this.
It's tough.
Really have, the last couple nights. That's what Mike, do
Would
you
you
have
like
something?
me to, oh,
Oh, my gut feeling would be, in my opinion, is we should just put in the time and put this education to the kids. That's what we're here for. The downside is the safety side. We miss school for safety, not for putting the kids out on the roadway. We cancel school.
Yeah, and I did say, and I will say it also, and I know nobody's getting after me. I won't apologize ever. I told staff, I noticed some things on social media and whatnot, but I will never apologize for the side of safety.
That's
I would
why I
never.
feel punishing. It'd be more of a punishment.
Yeah.
To come back and say, sorry, we're gonna think safety now, but now we're gonna go back and blindside you on the other side. My gut is we should do the school, but safety wise, I don't want to cross that line either. I think we should be safety oriented first. That's my opinion. So I would be willing to do that, even though I don't like it.
I hear it.
the contract says, if the district is closed due to loss of electricity or water or due to snow or other emergencies, the members governed by this agreement shall suffer no loss of pay. If the lost time does not allow the district to meet the state's minimum requirement of 990 student hours, the district may schedule makeup days to bring the district in compliance without additional compensation for the members.
Same as classified. So universally around. Okay. So that's what they have. And I'll do whatever the board. And I think the same thing as you. I mean, I really do believe.
We can fix it within the calendar we have.
And I would tell you, if we could back things up, if February wasn't such a raw month, we had no issues going all the way through January, and then February hit. I could have had some wiggle room. But there's literally no room in here at all. April is solid, May is solid.
Yeah, I agree. If we can fix it within our calendar, then. Especially since if we do extend it, you'll probably tell all the kids where we live.
They already know.
I don't want.
I mean, we're so close. I mean, if we were hours and hours and hours, then
Be a different story.
it'd be a different story.
I know this is a side comment, but I know I'm going to use it. And then here, Dale Webb, weather guy for the Vernonia area, is advertising. We can have ESA and other snow system come again on the 13th and 14th. But even then, if we miss another day or two, it'll be easier to build that in, much easier. But to build in 18 hours, and I believe it's 20 something for the other side. We can do it, but it is going to be. It's going to rip our PD apart, and we'll be going at least 3 or 4 extra days outside.
We don't need to. We're not changing anything.
I think for me, I would like some sort of record that the district or the board did approve the okay of 30 hours from instructional time and heritage conferences. Does that make sense? Because if the state were to come over and say, hey, did the board approve that? Because it says it's a local level decision whether or not. So that's the reason that's my thought process.
Total of 30 hours.
It's they only allow 30 hours, yeah, a total.
And it does say in the contract, on or before the April board meeting, the district will inform the association staff and community the number of added days and the calendar dates.
Correct.
So on or before the April board meeting.
We'll just notify them 10 more days of work.
I mean, because like I said, at the moment, I mean, we are under at 961. K through 8 is good. Seniors are short 5 hours roughly, and 9 through 11 is short about 30, roughly 30, a little less than that, by an hour and 30 minutes.
Everybody good with that?
Mhm.
I'd like to make a motion to use 30 instructional hours and parent teacher conference times to make up our 30 hours.
But if you also include, because we only have total 20 hours for parent teacher conference, so if you also include professional development time.
And professional development.
Yep.
You have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
I think it's,
Okay, and 9.2, is Natalie here?
no, Natalie's not here. And I am not the guy to give you the information on this one, but I just want to, just brief reference. I'm hoping next month she'll be here to present this. On one of the snow days, wind day, I don't remember which day this was. We did, both her and I met with representative from the Great Body Shop. You've heard this before when Principal Tyson was here at some point also. And we referenced that the second step curriculum was for an elementary and that we were still looking forward to some sort of secondary program. This actually encompasses everything in the district, but this is a real strong program. I don't know if we have anybody here that wants to look at it all. We had rumblings, we couldn't find where this was. This is from 2009 from the district. So it is out of date, but this does encompass quite a bit here. And in my mindset, again, as I mentioned before, and I'll bring this up in a different avenue at another time here, but keeping the district in compliance with sex education in the district. I think at the secondary level, that adoption process needed to happen quite a while ago. So this is an opportunity. Also with the second step, in conjunction with this, you're going to encompass the entire K through 12, but you're also going to be hitting Aaron's Law. You're also going to be doing Addie's Act as well, which are major components for the district. Also the, what did I call it? I think I wrote it down here. It's on my second page here. The prevention, my body prevention, that kind of education. And now they would speak much higher to that level, but this is, we have the whole thing in my office right now, but it would need to be updated. The cost, I will say, and we have to run this through an adoption process, community, all those things. But that was what Natalie's going to come in and do about just a brief opening about this aspect for secondary. It's about $1,500 for the full curriculum, which is not bad at all. And we have that, we definitely have that budgeted in our stuff here. So next month, she'll be here talking about that. I see it being a little bit of a process to get that through. I just wanted to give you a heads up, but that was not my presentation, but she wasn't here. I just wanted you to be aware of that. That's where it'd be headed.
Can I ask what are the Addie's Law and Addison's?
So we have suicide prevention,
Oh.
and the other one is sexual abuse,
Uh-huh.
and they're required by the state.
Okay.
Okay, 10.0, back to Corey, HCP update.
I don't have a lot. I just want to keep you apprised. So through our legal counsel and whatnot, we have made a public records request to the Oregon Department of Forestry, ODF, as well as the Association of Oregon Counties, AOC, and have received those documents and are currently combing through them. Yes, and I won't stay in public session at the moment, but it's over 1,000 pages that we're coming through. I'm not going through every 1,000 pages, but I'm working with legal counsel to provide me with the most informational supportive materials for the district as we move forward. So it's about a couple hundred pages right now. And there are some components in there that open the eyes a little bit. that make you all go, So I'll be meeting with our legal team to discuss the components within. We're looking at potentially for next week. I'm not sure date yet. We haven't settled on anything. And I'll provide an update to the board on where that motion is going forward. More likely, you'll probably see an email from me on that one sooner before the board meeting. So you guys will get an update on that one. And then we're also still waiting to hear back from the courts in regards to our appeal to Judge Peterson's denial to move forward with the lawsuit. And I said, look, here, again, once I hear, I'll let you know what comes out of that. But nothing in the last month.
Did they charge us for those 1,000 pages?
What is that?
Did they charge us for those 1,000 pages?
Oh, I'll read it here.
How many blanks in it?
Nobody intentional late.
Yeah.
Okay, 10.2, federal funding update.
Okay, so last month I had mentioned superintendents and myself from the rest of Clatsop County met with Representative Cyrus Javity. We did reach out to Senator Suzanne Weber, who could not make it at the time. And we are pushing for more from the state school funding. And even though we're not there per se, I'm right there with the other superintendents because I want to make sure just for the rights of all students across, whether we receive it or not, I think it's appropriate. Recently,
We could be one of them.
I know that very much so. And so we went the next round also. So we met the rest of the superintendents and myself. This was a couple weeks ago. Craig Hoppus and Superintendent for Astoria and Susan Pedron, Superintendent from Astoria or Seaside, excuse me, reached out and set up conversations with Congresswoman Bonamici and also Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley. So we had one session with Bonamici first and then had a regular superintendent session and we met with Wyden and Merkley. And this time we're talking about federal funding, federal grants. And I did ask Tammy for, for the district, what are some of our title grants here, or funding, excuse me, Title 1A, pretty basic programs, Title 2A, supporting effective instruction, Title 4A, student success, academic achievement. We also have the early literacy grant, which is a big deal going through, and that's part of the adoption process. And then also the rural, like we down the REAP, the Rural Education Achievement Program, which we have about $15,000, I think that's what you said, in for the district. That has potential to be cut completely. This is all new. This is new information for me. So I'm delving in with the Annapolis Superintendent Bill Fritz for some more discussions in the last couple of days about where we're at with that one, because his district receives that and we receive it also. But ultimately, the goal here, and none of them were at all anti our discussions, is we want to see continued, if not increased funding. And there's concerns that may not be the case. And again, agree or disagree with politics of today's world. There's a lot of things up in limbo. And I think personally, we don't know where things are going. And so this is an avenue, at least where the Clatsop County superintendents are really pushing for the state and for the title programs to keep moving because they're vital for our districts. Title 1A specifically for high poverty school districts and small. They're very, very important to keep those funds in check. Tammy, I didn't check with you before I said this, but I think we have about $69,000 for Title 1A funds this year, if I'm correct.
Yes, and that's down. I believe it's around 13% that it's down from last year because it's based on several factors, but one of them is a couple-year-old census report. It's very interesting how they come up with the funding on that. So we're already down. I believe it was 13 off the top of my head. I believe it was like 13%. So,
and the other funds, they do fund, Title 2A, supporting effective instruction is $5,688 or so. Student success, academic achievement, that's Title 4A, $10,981. Rural school library revitalization grant, which is awesome, is I think the second time we've got that, $10,950. So if you ever sit around and look in the room and see some of the changes that are going on, some of the products, some of the displays, books, there's been a lot of changes in here and weeding out of some of the stuff that's been in here for quite a while. That's been funded through this title grant here. And then obviously early literacy grant, we're at $44,000 for that one right now. That's a biennium, that's a two-year grant. So I just want to give you a heads up that that was one of my superintendent goals going in, is making sure that I'm pushing and fighting for every dollar we have in the district. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do here.
10.3, student investment account.
So Oregon, has another grant for the district. This is a student investment account. I didn't get the exact amount. I know it's close to $250,000. I think it's a little less than that, if I'm correct. 218, something like that, 218,000 or so. And I did create a survey that I put out to the staff. And I sent an email also, people that are not last Wednesday, but the previous Wednesday. It's now on our website. Also, as of, it's been up for a couple days here. I sent a notice through text today and email also. And I'm going to continue to send that out there for another couple of days. But basically, this is a survey being provided for our school community, so we can hear the thoughts and priorities for improving school and student outcomes around lowering class sizes. And I'm going through some House bill right now that's being discussed by Oregon that potentially will literally be a requirement in negotiations, class sizes, an actual requirement that is negotiated. Obviously, Joel, you don't have to worry about lower class sizes.
Gonna say,
Uh, Number 2, meeting students' behavioral and mental health needs. 3, extended learning time, such as summer programs or before and after school programs. And then ensuring well-rounded education for all students. And that's more of a subject in discussion in some of the bigger districts than you may realize right now. If you're privy of the news, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then establishing and strengthening partnerships. So the assistance league being here, I mean, that is, as when I used to teach the warm and fuzzies, that kind of stuff. I mean, I can see you all beaming. I can see, I can see the interaction that it has over here, and it feeds across the district and just spreads. So I think that's pretty important. So anyway, it's just a survey. It has how many questions I put on here? 6 questions. In general, it's just to give a general temperature feeling of the district. And staff, I was able to get, so far, I think I have 32 responses right now. So I have a general feeling about where our staff, in general, and I'll send it out to them again about how they feel, about where the funds of this could be spent. So that's what I have for that one.
Okay. 10.4, principal posting.
So
we already had that covered.
So Elise has on my desk a couple posts. Yeah. So if anybody did what you just met there. I do want to just briefly say you're doing a great job, Mike. I just, in public session, you're doing a wonderful job here. But I'm working with Elise. She does have 3 different postings on my desk right now that I asked for last week. I'm going to go through those and make some changes and adjustments based off of where we're at in the district for the last few years. And I'll be making a posting not at the end of this week, but I will have it posted by the end of next week is what I put here. And I'm going to have it open for about 6 or 7 weeks. I will be attending the Oregon State Educator Job Fair with Shelley Alford on the 20th of March to go down there. And obviously that would be a major position that we're going to be advertising. And interviews I'm looking at potentially taking place the last week of April, the first week of May. It seems kind of early, but
it's never early.
my thought process, if we don't find a candidate we've gone through many in this district. If we don't find a candidate, then I'm going to ask.
We know who we're going to call.
Well, yeah, right. And then in terms of, I'm looking at both administrators being on the interview team. I'm looking at representatives of the classified and the certified, roughly 3 each. And then also community members and board, obviously, I'm looking for a board member or 2 to be on there. So as we approach that time frame, I'm looking at about 12 to 15 people being on this interview team. And making sure we're going to do this. Okay, so that's my update for that one.
Question.
Hey, you're early.
What is that?
I think you're early on that. So you made a contract with the student, I hold contracts.
I've tried.
Any indication that we'll have other openings come up before the end of the year, or is February pretty well?
So, the answer will be yes. There will be yes. I know one has been advertising very loudly, but I don't want to do it in the public section.
Yeah.
But yes, and I know in terms of contracts and those kind of things, the deadline for contract for the certified to be notified is March 15th. And you guys will have in front of you for the March 17th board meeting, you'll have a list of all that information. You'll get it prior to that also though.
Okay.
So yeah. So when I head down to Salem and do my advertising for whatever, I'll have everything in my brain to be out there for advertising. Yes.
But I just want to throw in one, it's going to be a tough sale probably getting somebody over here. You never know, I guess, with what we have. Is there an opportunity for some mentoring maybe next year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nice.
And Mike and I have had that conversation also. And I think that's important. I've already got him mentoring for what, the whole year? Okay.
10.5 mandatory reporting training.
And I lost my second page, so I feel bad because I wrote down the names of the individuals. So Superintendent Craig Hoppus, who's on leave right now, prior to him going on leave, he and I had a discussion about mandatory reporting, and he was having some members from the services and representatives from Clatsop County come together and put on a large PD for over 100 and something participants. So it also included, I know another district, I don't know which one. And I said, can we jump in on that also? And he said, absolutely, the more the merrier. It was going to be virtual. It was last Thursday, and we could put everybody together for that one. So I asked, please send me the recording if the presenters are okay with that. So they were okay with that. So we had that presentation yesterday. It took about an hour and a half. The actual training itself through DHS, through their video, is about half an hour. And I'll mention the second part in a minute. I'm looking at Martha, for example. We had people who were not there, for example, and I sent a message out telling them I would get something out today, and today doesn't finish till midnight. So I already know what I'm doing. So if anybody's going to chat with me afterwards, I'm going to be kind of walking while you're talking, because I want to go home tonight, and it won't take long, but I'm going to send that off to the rest of the staff. I do have a checklist in my office of everybody. It's required all within the district. And so I have a checklist of everybody that went through that. And I thought it was, I mean, when I say dry, I hope you understand, it's not a boring dry. It was an important aspect of it. And I do sense that people fully did engage and understand what was interesting between the two videos. I know Martha hasn't had a chance to look at it, and I'll say the email is, the one video is just 30 minutes cut and dry. And yes, the other one was an hour and 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes, but it was a lot of good dialogue from the participants in there. So I'm going to encourage people to watch that aspect of it. But it did talk very clearly about the aspect of reporting and the issues not doing so. And they do reference, other districts. They don't name any other district necessarily per se, but it was very clear that how important this really is in the line of defense for the protection of all kids in the district here. So I'm going to get that out today because I want to hold my word. I said I'd get it out today at 11:59. It'll be out. And then the second part of that, and there's going to be some changes for those that did partake in the discussion, is around a suspected child abuse reporting form. And I did talk to our counselor, and I said, you know what? And I don't know, Mike, if I've come to you since last night when I had more discussions and whatnot, thinking about this. But this form here, and not every district, I mean, I've looked around, not every district has these. So Natalie, our counselor, put this together, but it does walk you through every aspect of what they're going to ask you when you make a report. And this is scary for some people. If you've never made a report, you don't have a clue what's going to happen. So you don't know. So this really walks you through it all. We talked about procedures that if you do make a report, you do need to let an administrator know. And I just said this will be the principal. Now, obviously, principal's not there, they come to me. And then you make your call. Now, what I had told the staff, and just being transparent, was after you do that, you provide this to the administrator. Now, through further discussions and whatnot, I've been here long enough to know, I'm just going to say this publicly, not every administration that goes through has been the most trustworthy administration coming through. And I've seen some scary things in my time in this district, being on the union side and seeing how things go. And information is not always the best thing in the wrong hands sometimes. So this is where I'm going to be changing. I don't know if I got to you today with this, Mike, but this will still be presented in the hallway with all the other forms in the main office. And when a staff member has a situation take place, we're going to highly encourage them to grab this and to use this and be ready to go. Now, some of us who've been through these things before, this isn't going to be overly helpful per se, but it is good to keep dialogue and keep the records for yourself. But I do want them to continue to go to the administrator, again, in this case, the principal, and provide them the student ID number, not student name, but the student ID number. And then every staff member also has a staff number as well. So we're going to have a staff number, and it may take some getting used to this, and a student ID number. And this is what the administrator sees, not this. This is where the individual makes the report, and they can keep that for their records if they want. If they don't, shred it. But this is for them, however they want to keep the records. But from the administrator standpoint, they see the student ID number, staff ID number, the day and time they called to make the report, the reporting number that the person is going to provide for you, and also the name of the person at DHS who's taking your call. And that will be what's filed. And the reason I said that is because as things go down the line, the superintendent, I may not always know all the calls. The principal should know if people have been making those reports, if that makes sense, and all those kind of things. But when the administrators see a student number and it just keeps coming up, it keeps coming up, it keeps coming up. And I've said before in public and in other meetings here, when I have somebody in front of me who's representing an organization, and I have questions about why this name keeps popping up over and over and over, I want to have a good dialogue why that is. And reach out to DHS and say, I would like reports on every single one of these so I know what they are. So I can make some sort of good conversation around it. So this will be going out. This will be going out with, this is what I'm telling you, I'm kind of, let me get out as soon as I can, because I'm going to take some time to explain this, because a good chunk of the staff still think that this is going to go forth. And that's that give and take a little bit as we're growing and learning about what we're doing with our processes and procedures in the district. So did that make sense? That's the reporting aspect. I hope so, but if not, please let me know. But that was good. I thought it was a good PD yesterday. Okay, I look at my audience also, hopefully.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Next month, we follow up.
Next month,
Next
I'm
month.
gonna forget, so I'll email you tomorrow.
Thank you. And there's clarification time too.
Yeah, we have 11.0 clarification.
Oh, is that this time?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just wondering, just for your classified staff, are they gonna be able to have access to those student IDs? Because certified can get in there, but like classified can't do that, so that if they're gonna hit Mr. Scott up with, email, they don't have any of that.
See, in my thought process, and that's a good point, my thought process is, it says when the administrator receives the information about the student, my assumption is it's going to be discussed at some point. So I'm assuming that the administrator will know. I'm trying to be careful as it is. I feel like the administration, I'm trying to set the district up so when and if I'm gone, in the future, whatever it is, that the administrator who does come in doesn't take that initial standpoint. I mean, it's being very supportive, but a new administrator that comes in at some point doesn't go through all the files and looks at everything in there and sees all the names and whatnot. I mean, no matter what, they're going to find out the information. But I'm going to have to write that one down because that is a good point. I didn't even think about that aspect of it in terms of some of our staff won't have those numbers at all. And part of me is thinking, relay that information to the principal and the principal can help them with the ID number. That was the first thing I thought about.
Because just for me, like, kind of going through this process,
Yep.
I like the backup of the, right? So like, I like to be able to reference it at some point.
Yep.
And so I think for a classified person, that's to be able to do that, because they might need to.
And also, as you mentioned, the idea of the email, because that is trackable.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that in the business that we're in sometimes. So with the process of also alerting the administrator, maybe we just do it through email. You send an email and then you go in and check with that person. Just say, or oftentimes a lot of us do, after they've come and had conversations, they'll send an email and say, hey, just to recap what we talked about. If that makes sense. That way it covers all sides.
How secure do you email?
It's very secure. I do want a clarification on that sheet. Are we gonna make sure that that sheet doesn't include any information that's not student directory information? Because if it is kind of just left around and it's not going into the confidential space, we could run the district.
I hear what you're saying. Good point. Good point.
Any question? This might be a stupid question.
Mhm.
Why doesn't classified have access to student numbers? They work with these kids all the time.
Because it's part of our SIS and not all of our staff members need a SIS login to access that information. Because what happens in our SIS is when you're given certain access to it, you can access other things that aren't necessarily directory information that can be shared with everyone. It usually is only accessed by staff.
Mhm.
Specific.
But is there a way that you could give just student numbers so that they could fill these forms out?
And that's,
Have different credentials for login.
And
Well,
that's,
if we give
that's
everybody the same number, then might as well just put their name on.
the student.
We really deal with, I mean, everyone's gonna know a number pretty quick here.
That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna just give everybody a number, you must put it on their shirt.
Yeah,
Student
tattoo it on.
IDs are part of directory information, so that is something that we can share with the staff at large.
Yeah.
It's just not something that we've had to do.
So, and this is gonna be an ebb and flow. I know this is gonna be an ebb and flow also. And as we go through this, I don't know if the people will use it or not. You know, I think the mindset is, if you've made calls and reports before, this is gonna be kind of tedious. That's a lot of extra stuff. But I think at least in terms of, I've been talking to other individuals as well in the district, it's a good point if you've never done this before, to have that access. I know when I first started, we would love to have something like this. Because my first time I reported years ago, all nervous.
Yeah.
On the phone, I don't know what to expect at all. So I just want to make sure that was good as well.
12.0 Board of Director time. Walnut.
Oh, Martha, thank you for all that. That was a good presentation and learning a little bit more about those guys. I seen the stuff coming out, but I didn't really realize where it all came from. So, thank you for all that. Staying up on it. I have to ask Elon if you had the 5 numbers in, so I'll let you know this next month. So, so I don't really have much. Much else, so that was about it. Thank you guys.
Again, I'm gonna thank Martha. This is wonderful. I had no idea that we did this, or that you, it's totally brand new. I never knew any of it. So anyway, thank you for taking care of this. This is wonderful. I mean, that's great, great. And hopefully the weather cooperates till the end of the year, and we're just, I'm done. I'm done with it, so. That's about all I got too, is just keep on trucking.
Okay, yeah, I definitely thank you, Martha, for that. I mean, you can definitely tell you're very passionate with it. It's, that's what it takes with those volunteers. So it's huge. I've been down there. I've seen the closet and everything in there, and it's pretty amazing that we have that opportunity here for the kids. So I'll be looking for them, trying to figure out how we can get dinner at Corey's house next year, so we can all pitch in. But no, that's good. I'd like to try to support them any way I can. So that's all I got. Director Sonia?
I don't have much other than my appreciation for Martha's efforts and bringing to our awareness the Assistance League. And I wonder if maybe Jewel can do their own chef and home tour, maybe.
Okay, Director
But it'd
Sonia.
be more like backyard barbecue style.
There you go. That would be cool to do something out here,
It'd
yeah.
be kind of fun. But
Yeah.
given when I look between now and the end of the school year, we've got budget, we've got evaluations, we've got policy changes, and we've got updates to legal issues.
Negotiations.
And I mean, there's so much going on. I almost wish we could meet more often. I'm not suggesting we actually do that, but it just feels like there's going to be so much to deal with it just in one meeting. I guess what I'm getting to is, thank you, Corey and TJ, I know it takes a lot of time, and without that, it would be even harder. So thank you. And again, thanks to Martha and George too.
Thank you. Director Dietrich?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
First of all, apologies that I couldn't be there in person tonight, but I'm just doing everything I can. Martha, hats off to you for your efforts and in that and the assistance league presentation that we heard tonight. That's very impressive, and that's put very lightly. Principal Scott, I hear nothing but great things about you. I just want you to know that your reputation is very warmly recognized throughout the faculty and everything. I just thought I'd share that with you.
Well, thank you.
And then to add some friendly competition to encourage good behavior amongst the students and then award them for that. It's a job well done. So I just wanted to extend that out to you. That's all I got.
Can I say one more thing? Has there been any thoughts of getting a community washer and dryer down here for people who can't make it to town?
Still on my docket.
I mean,
The old airplane room, which is still sitting there. Yeah, it's been on the docket. There's a lot going on and I haven't had a chance to jump into that. There's definitely grants. I've brought that up, I think, Martha a couple times, but yeah, that's still on the docket.
because I mean, some people, it's very difficult to get to town. And it would be nice to be able to have some kind of washer and dryer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
their
yeah.
plumbing and everything, so that's part of the issue. I don't know, it's right there now. And trying to seek some grant funding out to help
Yeah.
support that.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at it as kind of like a community closet. I mean,
Could
I've
they-
expressed that a couple
Yeah.
times.
What about our student health-based center? Well, that's more.
I mean, wait, could they access it outside of school hours? I mean,
That would be, that's the whole.
Okay.
whole answer
That
there.
area.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it would be very much community driven.
I'm sure the community would love it.
That's the reason I had that thing cleared out as best we could.
Good.
We still have some work there.
Is that an optional space for you guys to use for storage of some of the stuff they're having to cut down on programming to with usage?
Yeah, Corey's stuff, I mean, these are talking about the washer dryer for
Years. Right. Well, I'm talking like with also what they're talking about cutting part of their program out because they lost a spot at the church for storage of clothing.
Oh, yeah, so that Cinderella's closet is really a lot of material. So like, that would be like, maybe they can hold stuff in there. So then when they have it set up, like the kids come, and they there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of formal wear. And then they have like different places they can change, and so you really need kind of like a bigger facility. I mean, the church, the downstairs of the church is just like perfect, but I don't know where they're gonna find it.
Well,
Yeah, but they need to be able to no mold on the dresses, Mike.
Okay. 13.0, future items for next meetings. We have teacher evaluations update. Superintendent evaluation discussion coming up in March. Superintendent evaluation in April and license contract renewals. Anything else anybody wants to put on there?
we can have the rest of those orders, the policies,
What is that?
the rest of those policies, or later.
And my hope is yes. I need to go see how probably this stuff.
Put it off, okay.
Yeah,
I just,
but the goal would be if I can get there, yeah.
And I would suggest if we can to try to get, evaluation coming up and needing to spend some time. If we can, try to back off a little bit on policies for a little bit, that might help a little bit.
We don't want to get too far behind.
I don't want to get behind, but I feel like.
I don't want to be
Well,
reading
But
policies.
we also had they just take a policy with this last go around.
Well, if it helps-
Cut half of it.
At least the complaint procedures and whatnot, those, I want to make sure those are still, I want to make sure those are there. So that's, if I pull back, I'll at least keep those ones in.
Okay, so that'll bring us to 14. We will recess and move into executive session. We have the members of the media.
She was.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I really appreciate you guys. I know this is a voluntary thing too. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Make a motion, to adjourn into executive session for ORS 192.6602. Discuss the evaluation process of a chief executive. Representation from the news media and designated staff shall